Welcome to Wonderboys. To that end, the wonder.
Yeah,
Can I tell you about what I saw last night?
sure.
This was so fucking cool. I was walking through the park
Mhm.
late at night, so I come across night fights in the park.
What do you mean night fight?
Like fucking 15 people dressed in medieval armor,
Oh my god, really?
metal armor, right? With swords, just fucking wailing on each other.
And were they like fake swords or
No, they were real swords. So I'm just like, this
Oh,
is
when you say night, you mean like a medieval night,
yeah, not like
not like in the evening.
in the
That's
evening
what I
time.
thought you were saying. So
Oh, you meant as opposed to morning fights.
yeah, 'cause you started the story saying you were taking a
Yeah,
walk
no, they're
at night.
naked fights.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was fucking, and they were like going hard. And like over to the side was like the kiddie pool section
Uh-huh.
where they had foam swords and stuff like that. And there was one, I don't know whether they were practicing, but there was one kid who was made to kneel with a shield like this, and another kid was just like wailing. And it was clear that the kid was just supposed to kneel and it was never supposed to get up. And I don't know what that was. But I went over to these people,
Yeah.
and there was a guy there who was like in this beautiful chainmail, fucking cool ass shit,
Mhm.
long like a night errant. It was
Yeah.
gorgeous. And I was like, hey, what are you guys doing? And unprompted, he said, this thing gives me more joy than anything in the world. That was the first thing he said to me.
This is a Wonderboys experience you
It's
had.
the most Wonderboys experience. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And he's like, we're the society for whatever the fuck. I don't really remember because I was so blown away.
Yeah.
They're like, we meet every Tuesday and we do a knife fight. And I was like, what's that sword you have? And it was like sharp as all get up.
Yeah.
And they just fight. Presumably not to the death, but they just fight. He had this coat of armor that I got to try. Oh, and I got to
So you like did you had your curiosity was piqued. You
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
something kind of amazing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
went and joined in.
Listen to this joke I did,
Okay.
which kind of like I feel like
It's like you were kind of like posting a story
I'm
without
never not hosting a story, and I'm always assuming there's a camera. Where is it?
Right.
Um, so he took his chainmail off, and it was like finely wrought,
Mhm.
but heavy as fuck,
Sure.
right? And so I go, well, this isn't mithril.
I don't get it.
No, because you're a cool cat.
I don't get that
Mithril
at all.
is the most rare metal in Middle Earth.
Oh.
Tolkien's Middle Earth.
Oh, okay. I see.
So I've read Lord of the Rings once a year, every year since I was 13.
Amazing.
We just had our 30th anniversary a couple of years ago. And so mithril is what you find deep, deep, deep in the bowels of Middle Earth.
Mhm.
It's how they unleashed the Balrog, Krishna.
You know, I've never read the series.
Yeah. No, the dwarfs, what the dwarfs did just
Well,
sounds like a problematic
The
thing.
reason I didn't is 'cause I had a hard time reading as a
Really?
kid. Still do, kind
Have you seen the movies?
of. Sort of. I mean, I've seen them, but I don't really remember them.
I slept in line for 2 nights in a tent
Oh, that's
to get
adorable.
tickets. Still the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was like, it's not mithril. And all these people were like,
This is your audience.
and there was high-fiving.
Yeah.
It was great.
I
Anyway,
really can imagine this in my mind's eye as a glorious evening for
it was
you.
amazing. It was amazing. They're there every Tuesday.
Okay, let's go.
And I said, like, next weekend, I'm bringing my friend Krishna,
Mhm.
and we're gonna all fight.
I can't wait.
Isn't it cool?
I cannot wait.
They were so stoked.
Which is, you know, that I'm interested to hear this because also in my Instagram explore page,
Yeah.
amidst the things that they're trying to get me, a middle-aged man, interested in,
Like the semi-naked women.
yeah, just exactly. But every once in a while, there will be an MMA style fight, but with people in full medieval battle armor, using
Yeah.
axes and huge broadswords and like nunchuck looking things. And I watch them. They're boring, right? And right at first, it's interesting because they kind of run at each other and then hit. But then after that, it's just the actual like uh, fighting for a knife in the mud kind of
Yeah.
horrible conflict that actually exists. You know, like
There's that like Polish not knife fight, night fighting league where they do like legit wail on each other.
yeah,
And it's really cool. Are you good in a fight, Krishna?
never been in a fight.
Have you ever been attacked or punched?
Nope.
Would you like to? I'm not offering, but like how? Because to me, that's always been something I feel like I've lacked in my life. Because like I am a fist magnet. Like
You've got a face for
I
punching.
have a face that is made like, or just like my whole
Yeah,
body.
I
It's
see.
just like
That's true.
I get it. I remember
But
like
it looks like you could take the punch too. That's what's nice about it.
because there's not many features.
Yeah, that's right. You're
It's a
not gonna mess
hard-boiled
anything
egg.
up.
Exactly. There's like in Fight Club when Edward Norton like beats the shit out of beautiful Jared Leto,
Yeah,
and he goes like, "I just want to destroy something beautiful." Like
yeah.
not me.
That's not how it works.
Mine is more like what you hit just to train
Uh-huh.
because you're not going to change it.
Well, to your point, so I've never been in a fight. I've never really sought out a fight. I don't think I've ever been punched in the face as hard as one could. I'm a small person. Like I am, not a big dude.
Right.
And I think there's a word that kind of floats around that I hear these days called victim weight. Like I am the epitome of victim weight. There was these two in college. I was even skinnier in college. I was like 115 pounds at 5'10". So
Mm.
you can just imagine how tiny I was.
Mhm.
And so there were these. We used to, I think, did we buy weed from them? There were two like cool townies. Gosh, I can't remember their names, but they called me Frail Man. That was my nickname to them, and
Wow.
they weren't wrong.
Do you ever, when you're out on the street walking, again, I keep getting back to that, but like,
Yeah, that's
what's your, like, if you feel threatened or if it's a dark night,
hmm
like, do you like pump yourself up in any way?
I think I just start walking faster. I'm a runner. If it's
Yeah.
fight or flight, I'm flight.
Yeah. I'm neither because I'm not a runner.
Yeah.
Like my knees are bad and I'm also like a little bit chubby. Like they would fucking I'm the weak wildebeest. Like I'm slightly injured
Yeah,
wildebeest of
I,
the pack.
I think my sort of spirit animal has always been like a deer.
Yeah.
Like I'm graceful and I'm a gazelle. I'm
Yeah,
light.
yeah.
I move quickly.
I've noticed that with you.
Yeah.
One time I was in a bar in Norway and I was DJing because that's what I did these days.
That's really cool.
And there was like this dick in there and he was like throwing glasses across the dance floor, like glasses.
Damn.
And I mustered some sort of magical aggression that I've never ever been able to muster since or before then. And he was bigger than me. I'm not gonna make him out to be like some huge dude, but I grabbed him by the throat
hmm
and I pushed him up against the wall, and
Wow.
then I let him outside.
You're kind of turning me on a little
I
bit.
I'm rock hard myself, and I like dragged him outside, and I was like, "No!" And you could tell that like it hit, like it resonated with him. He was like, "I guess no,"
Yeah.
and he didn't
So
come
you've
back.
summoned both the strength and the authority to use violence as a I guess a righteous violence.
It is all the mental thing. It's like the Shaolin monks have that
hmm
energy, the chi.
hmm
And at that moment, I was a Shaolin monk.
Yeah. Well, it's also like the concept of confrontation and like a fight of man against man or person against person. That feels really like the age we're living in right now.
Yeah,
Like MMA as like a cultural phenomenon, and just the way that the world just feels like a fight of man against man.
yeah, it does. But also, there's like some masculinity vibe that's around, like not even in like the toxic masculinity spaces. You know that guy, Professor Galloway,
Yeah.
who's on like everyone's Instagram feed, and he's
There was a time where he had a Vice show also,
right.
and
Who's
it was
like,
bad.
I can imagine, but he's like, I don't know, he's trying to be like this liberal ideal for a man, right? But he also said like a man should be this and that. And one of the things that like you should go into every room and know that you could destroy every man in there.
Yeah.
I don't want that at all.
I mean,
That's an insane thing to think about. Because that means that if I walked into this room, then I'm like, I can destroy Krishna. And for you to be a man, you have to know the same thing. So we're sitting here confident in our knowledge that we could beat the shit out of each other, which I kind of like
I
actually.
guess we should find out. Yeah. I get so to me, when I think in those terms, you're always summing something up, right? You get into a room with a bunch of people and you're summing it up some way. Am I the smartest person there? Am I the best looking person there? Am I like, where do I fit in the hierarchy of
Mm.
whatever it is that is important to you? So I think like maybe the Scott Galloway person is feeling like it's important to him to beat everyone up. And I've never had that.
My friend once asked me a question. I couldn't answer this question. And she asked me, like, would you rather be seen as funny or smart?
How about neither?
Well, but they're the same, right? To me, like,
Yeah.
you can't be funny if you're an idiot.
I mean, you can, but it's a different kind of funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to be both, I think is obviously the answer, right? And attractive and
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you have that.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I did.
um, I've made a game for you.
Okay.
I've made a game for you. I've written it down. Well, I call it. What do I call it? I call it Krishna's cult or Krishna's
Crazy cult?
crazy cult
And
or
all with K's.
Krishna's terrible terrorist tryst.
You know, when I used to play basketball in Williamsburg, like pickup games, it was with, you know, a diverse array of Brooklyn residents who were about 25 or younger.
Hmm.
And my nickname on the court was Taliban. This was like pretty much post 9/11.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, cool, that's my nickname. There's Cheese. Cheese owned maybe like a cheese and sausage company. Like he was, I think, Mexican in origin.
Sure.
I was Taliban. That's the only two I can remember. Cheese is a good one, though.
Cheese is a good one. I mean, Taliban isn't a bad one.
Not bad.
It means student.
Is that right?
I think Talib means student.
Oh, yes, that's right. So it's a bunch of students.
So they were like, he's a clever guy.
A scholar and an athlete.
Yeah, yeah. Also like swarthy, brown, and untrustworthy.
Indeed. Yes, exactly.
It's a weird time to be called Taliban, like what in like this still the smoking shadow of the.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the NYPD was actively like infiltrating student groups at CUNY. You know, it was a time.
I guess they still.
Maybe they still are.
In a way.
Anyway, I
right,
cut you
so
off. What's the
this
game?
is a question and answer game that I've designed for me to get to know you better.
Oh, that's nice.
And so it is okay. This is designed for us to come up with your or our dream cult or sect or terrorist organization.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so it's a series. Well, first of all, are you currently or have you ever been a member of a cult or a terrorist organization?
Yeah, I mean, yes, a cult is a strong word, but I think it could be a word to describe a religious community that my parents brought me up in.
Really? What was it?
This Swami from India named Satya Sai Baba, and he's got millions of followers around the world. He died maybe 11 or 12 years ago, but the things that he preached were very universal, like love and respect, and all religions are sort of the same in a fundamental way. But he was like a cult of personality. He was very short, but had a big halo of black hair. He wore an orange robe, and he materialized things. He like would make things.
Actually?
Well, I mean, I was in the presence of it happening. I mean, my belief is probably not actually, because that seems.
Describe what you saw.
Well, he materialized a ring for me once. So he sort of like waves his hand, and then boom, a ring comes out. And
so maybe sleight of hand, but like to a kid, it's pretty cool.
I mean, to an adult, it's really cool. It looked amazing. Really? And it was truly incredible. So yeah, I mean, it's a cult in that way, but it's given a lot of people a lot of meaning. Clearly, there's been a lot of like good works that he's done around the world from a charitable perspective, and there's the bad stuff too. There was, I think, some credible accusations of sexual assault and these sorts of things. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
How did you get out of it? Well, I'm not saying you got out of it, but like, how do you feel about it now?
I think of it as a club that my folks are really into.
They're still in it?
Yeah, and it gives them a lot of meaning, and it's a way of praying and being devotional.
Is it within the Hindu pantheon?
Yeah. It emerges from Hinduism for sure.
Okay.
And India has this centuries old tradition of swamis and gurus and
what's a swami?
Like a religious leader.
Okay.
And the little sects kind of coming out from the firmament that is Hinduism.
India does seem like kind of religiously overwhelming. Like there's a lot happening.
Indeed.
But I'm sure there's here too. Are your parents both Indian?
Yes.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yes.
When did they come over?
My dad in 1975.
Okay.
My mom in 1980.
Were they a part of the whole like does the cast or caste?
Cast. Come on.
Do they take that with them?
Well, yes, in certain ways. It forms a lot of identity for some people. Some people don't want it to be part of their identity.
Is it part of yours?
I kind of reject it mostly because it is a system of oppression.
Because you're in a good one or a shit one?
A good one.
Really?
I mean, if you want to call it good. Yeah, of course, it's good. I'm a high caste individual, and I reject the concept of caste entirely.
But could you like flex with it if you wanted to?
I guess.
Could you go into an Indian restaurant in Brooklyn? What can you get away with? What can you demand?
I mean, there were like bubblings of it in Silicon Valley where like within the tech company, there's been good reporting on this, like within tech companies that employ a lot of Indian Americans, Hindu Indian Americans, that caste-based discrimination was still happening.
Wow.
So yeah, I think it does come over certainly, but yeah, I'm trying not to think.
Like I wonder, like if you're born in like a low caste, do you just kind of like have to accept it, being like, oh, I guess, or is like, is there no way to better your lot if you're
Well, I think the threat of physical violence is what underlies all of it.
so physical violence?
Yeah,
Would you be allowed to go to India and pummel someone? We've already covered that you wouldn't be able
I
to.
wouldn't be able to. I think probably.
Jesus.
I mean, it depends. I mean, things have probably changed to some degree. I haven't been to India in 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
I haven't lived in India for quite some time, or I mean, ever really.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know is the answer. But what I do know is that a lot of people take pride in the concept of caste. A lot of people think it's terrible, and I kind of fall into the latter, or no, the former.
Is there anything good about it, like in the terms of like societal organization, or
I
because
mean,
we have caste in America too, right? We have a class-based society,
yeah.
kind of.
I mean, I guess the argument for it, whatever that would be, is that naturally speaking, over time in societies, like a striation ends up happening. Problem is, it's
What's a striation? I don't know these things. I'm foreign.
well, there's like different classes, and there's different classes of people, by way of who gets rich and who doesn't, by way of who has power and who doesn't have power. So it's really just it's a rigid system of power hierarchy,
Okay.
that privileges a few to the detriment of the many.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's totally fucked up.
yeah. Well, thank God we live in a totally equal society here.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why we moved here.
Okay,
Well,
so
actually,
but you're
no.
not a member currently.
I mean,
I just need to know for the
for the questionnaire.
purposes of our
Yeah, I would say 50-50. Like in the past, and maybe in the future. Who knows? Maybe
Okay.
maybe it was good.
All right, so we're starting. So we're gonna start a new cult or whatever it is. We don't know yet, but we got to figure out like who you are in it, right? Because to my mind,
I'm the leader, obviously.
is that what you are?
Probably.
Because you can be a leader, you can be a follower, and you can be like the power behind the throne, which is fucking cool.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've always flirted with the idea of starting like being a guru myself. I could get a following of people. I could be. I'm charismatic enough, right? I could tell people they're special, that we have a secret together, that we form a community that is unlike any other, that there is some kind of group salvation that comes from us being together. So yeah, I've always fancied myself a potential cult leader.
Is that what you would gravitate to? Because I would probably, just by nature of who I am and what I look like I'm militiaing it in the woods.
Oh,
Obviously, for me, it's a group of very angry white folks in
yes,
the woods.
yes.
I'm not saying it's right wing; it could be left wing too. But
Mhm.
I don't think I have the finesse to be a cult leader. I think I'm more just like, boys, we got to get some weapons here, and we got to move into the woods. So you're like, but you're going toward a more of a esoteric vibe. Like, what do you think is your secret? Like, what is the secret that you have? Are you talking to aliens?
Yeah, I mean, I found the most success in when I was covering pot, for instance, right?
Mhm.
I was telling stories that people knew in their hearts were true, but people hadn't seen them before. So there was like it was a truth telling exercise, right?
Yeah.
Pot isn't bad for you. It was like years and years of people being like pot is the worst thing or really really bad, and I was saying no, pot's good, and broadcasting that to thousands and millions of people, and that was the charisma that kind of that's what I think people saw. So I think it'd be a truth telling. That would be my cult.
You're such like a wonderfully honest, because whenever I think what path I would go, it's like always personal and global destruction ends with, right? Like I would not be able to handle the kind of responsibility that comes with running a right-wing militia. I would just be a terrible person. But yours is pretty nice and healthy so far.
Well, I mean, it could
always
be.
starts out that way.
Yeah, it always starts out that way, but it's about what you do once you have the power.
Yeah.
But it's also, and this is something that like I have a lot of interest in myself, is just there's the power of persuasion. like how you talk to people, how you get people to be on your side, how you get to be, you know, how you get people to listen to you and pay attention to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that maybe came a little naturally to me as a younger person.
Do
Or
you not have imposter syndrome?
I certainly have had and still do. And especially now where it's like, okay, what am I good at?
Yeah.
Like, am I actually a media professional in that way?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that this is the first time I'm really questioning whether, like, do people really want to talk to me and pay attention to me? Do I need that?
Yeah.
Like, and I think the answers are yes, I need it. And I don't know if people want it.
Like in your heart of hearts, like, is it really imposter syndrome if I'm actually just shit?
Yeah, like if you have the insight that you are in fact an imposter,
Yeah.
is it imposter syndrome?
Yeah. That's
Hmm?
a valid point. I don't know. Yeah. I like the persuasion thing. I don't feel like I have that. Again, I would have to like fake it,
Yeah,
I think.
right.
I think people would easily, dude, no, I'm a follower 100%. Like I kind of want to join your thing right now. I don't even know what it is, but like, no, I can't take the pressure of being a leader of anything. I would
Yeah.
follow the fuck out of almost everything.
I think well, here's the thing. I think I'm actually a good figurehead. I'm not an actual good leader,
Right.
which is to say I need like a a team of people behind me
Yeah. Yeah.
actually getting the stuff done, and then I can be the one who talks about it.
You'd look good on a throne,
Indeed.
just saying weird, nonsensical stuff, but everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah, totally.
yeah,
Well, no, and this is something I said this to like one of our like executives at the company at Vice we used to work for. Like when he like came on board. Weirdly, I think people believe me when I say things,
yeah,
right? Like I don't know why exactly, but there's something about the way I present myself, the way I talk, the way I look at you in the face.
yeah.
Like people believe me. And I think that's my superpower. That's the thing I can do.
You have a nice vibe to you,
Hmm.
right? There's it's pleasant to
Hmm.
talk to you.
I'm not threatening.
You're very
I'm
non-threatening.
a non-threatening person.
Yeah, but also like sagacious. See, I know words too.
What does that mean?
Wise.
Yeah, there's a wisdom, but so that really played for me as a younger man, right?
Yeah.
As a young man, I had a precocious element to my personality, where it's like, wow, there's something wise behind your eyes. Like I can really look at you, and you seem to be listening. Like I think as a young man, I really pulled it off,
Yeah.
and so now as like a middle-aged man, I'm not sure if it still hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I have the same with my vibe always interviewing people or whatever is like a boyish enthusiasm.
Yes, you
But at
still have
some
that
point
for
it just
sure.
becomes a little creepy, maybe. I don't know.
This is, I mean, so this is sort of the finding of identity at this stage of our lives, is that we have to come to terms with the things that made us good at what we were then
Yeah.
might not work now.
I fucking hate saying this stage of our lives.
I'm sorry.
I hate that a lot. Um, but yeah, like I'm definitely a follower, I
Hmm.
think. And I've been like flailing around looking for shit to follow,
Yeah.
like now more than ever. I'm reading books about Buddhism.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it just seems kind of chill.
Or extremely not chill, don't you think?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's bad apples in that one too. But from the very little I've read,
Describe chill for me. Like, what do you mean by that?
it to me, as I understand it, based on almost nothing,
Hmm.
almost zero research, like I don't know, the last season of White Lotus, it's just like, hey, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Is
Okay.
like kind of all of it, but that's also kind of true for all religions, I guess. But what I like about it is that it doesn't feel specifically like a religion.
Right.
Like there's no deity except for the Buddhas or whatever, and the reason you like them is for what they like. There's nothing like supernatural
Hmm.
about them. To me, like I have trouble getting on board with like a magical Jesus
Yeah.
or a magical, well, I guess Muhammad to the same degree was like a prophet more than anything else. I don't know. I like kung fu movies as a kid, so maybe that's something.
There's something mystical and a little exotic about it that you kind of like.
And then I discovered that you can meditate on your couch, which was a big deal for
Oh,
me.
really? You don't have
You
to.
don't have to sit crisscross applesauce.
You can just sit on a couch and do it.
And any religion that's crisscross applesauce is like immediately out for me because my hips are.
You can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. From my sense, and I haven't read a lot about Buddhism myself, but my thought process when I think about it, I think of it as very lonely, and very like we live on a rock floating through space, and nothing matters. Like,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it. if you do worry about it, it's okay because all of life is suffering, which I think is what the Buddha said.
I think so.
That's pretty bleak, right?
But there was a really nice moment. Again, have you seen the last season of White Lotus?
Oh yeah.
All right, so I'm spoiling it for. We have no viewers. Well, there's
For
that moment
Alex,
when
we're spoiling it for Alex.
for
Hopefully you haven't seen
Alex.
Alex. Yeah.
Close your ears, Alex.
Alex is our producer. He's in DC and he can't listen.
He looks like
He's
Bob.
really handsome, is
He
the
looks
thing.
like Bob from fucking Twin Peaks.
He really does. In a good way, though, like sexy Bob.
In a good way. Yeah. Yesterday he was a mustachioed lesbian lady, remember?
Yeah, that was a good look too. Anyway, okay, so
So
you're ruining
there's
it
this
for
moment when the dad who did bad money stuff back home was having a crisis. He went to the Buddhist temple.
Yeah.
And he's like, what happens when you die? And the Zen teacher or whatever said, like, it's like your life is like a water droplet that leaves like the body of water, and when you die you rejoin it. So it's like we're all kind of alone in life, but we're part of this much bigger thing, and when you die you kind of go home.
Yeah,
which to me was kind of nice. And also, like, I like the idea that we're all part of something bigger. But again, this is my problem here. Like, I'm talking myself out of Buddhism, and you could pitch me whatever, and I'd be like, fine, I guess I'm this now. Such a win.
So you're very persuadable when it comes to these sorts of things because you're looking for a story, because you're looking for a meaning. Why? You're just looking.
Like, you could pitch me on the biggest Ponzi, and I'd be like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, I'm a natural cult follower.
And maybe I'm a natural cult leader.
Yeah, maybe that's what this podcast is.
And maybe Alex is a natural, like, behind the camera power source.
Yeah, Alex, I don't know if we can hear you, but do you want to nod? Are you a leader or follower or a power behind the throne?
That's three options, but he's not going to be able to.
No, you can say one or two or three.
Yeah.
Power behind the throne.
That's what I thought.
Producer brain.
What I thought.
Producer brain. Wait, do I have more questions in my game?
Well, let's keep talking about Buddhism because I think it's also like it emerges from a rejection of caste. Like, I think that's part of where and a lot of people, because it's a South Indian religion. The Buddha was in not South Indian, South Asian religion. The Buddha was in what is now modern day India, and of course it spread east to all over the continent of Asia. But it was a lot of people who first signed on to Buddhism, I think, were rejecting caste in the Hindu tradition.
Okay.
And likely were sort of lower caste as a result because they were being oppressed effectively. So yes, I think so. Okay, so to your point, Buddhism is interesting because it is a rejection of something, and an embrace of nothing, really, right? Which is to say, it's an embrace of this impermanence that
I gotta get off this train, this karma train that we're on, kind of, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Actions the actions produce suffering. So the fewer actions that you can take that make people suffer, the better. And let's just kind of like do no harm.
You're just sitting quietly.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so that's possible for some people. It's impossible for most, but it's a mindset that you can kind of like bring to the mundanity of doing dishes or whatever, or making a choice about what to buy.
Yeah.
Or whether to like take up arms against your neighbor, like shit like that. So I think it's super dope. I just find it really lonely.
Huh.
That's kind of, I think, like this concept that we're floating on a rock in space and nothing matters is a lonely idea. And it's sort of like, have you seen like Cosmos with Carl Sagan?
Yeah.
So like the like pale blue dot concept was actually my wallpaper for my computer for a while, because every time I looked at it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
but
yeah,
I don't think that's lonely. Like, to me, it's the opposite of lonely, right? Like, it's nice that we're all made of stardust.
Yeah. And it's nice that it all organizes in this insane way. And one day you're taking a walk at the Brooklyn waterfront and there's a bunch of people in medieval garb, like swinging swords at each other. Like, if you see the world as a cosmic dance in that way, then it is kind of wonderful, empowering, and cool.
But also, like, Buddhism is also, like, in many respects, the douchiest religion for like a man in his 40s to pick.
Yeah. I mean,
like, it's either that or like, I guess I'm spiritual.
Yeah, I think it's a white man too.
I do hate it a lot.
But I mean, you're seeking something that's like the opposite of what you are, right? In the stricter hierarchies of like a Abrahamic religion, right?
Yes. I don't want to join the like the Baptists or the whatever, like, because I need some like something exotic too.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. Like I've never been to the Himalayas. I feel like I keep getting back to like I just want to go there
Yeah.
and like sit for a minute, not crisscross applesauce. That would. I feel like if I went there, they would expect me. They wouldn't pull up a chair. They would expect me to sit.
Yeah, so I've been on this journey before, right? In like the summers between years of college, maybe even after in my senior year of high school, I traveled through India, traveled through Nepal, went into Tibet. And so met with all these like sort of gurus and swamis and like I guess I should tell this story, but it didn't happen to me. But we were in Tibet and we were going to this cave where like Guru Rinpoche, I think, a Tibetan lama.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, well, it's commonly used, but like the
Oh,
original, it was supposed to be like his abode. That's like where he was there. I don't even know what time, when this was. Uh,
this was Tibet.
this was in Tibet, and so I was with like 2 friends, 3 friends, and our friend and his girlfriend. And I think the girlfriend goes inside and basically gets sexually harassed by the monk, and it was really fucked up.
Jesus.
So it's like, I don't know, what do we do here? The things that are giving us joy in that way can just come right crashing right down.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's humanity, right? Like we can't have nice things because we're just going to be. And again, that's the cult thing too. Like I feel like power corrupts, and
So we can have these like wonderful thoughts about how we are dancing particles just kind of forming and becoming and doing weird shit and like, feeling wonderful about the world. And then we can also have there's another thing there where we do awful shit.
yeah.
This is getting too deep.
I think I just want to belong to something nice.
What do you mean? What's nice?
Well, I don't know, just something that gives me a little sense of purpose and makes me feel good. And I guess it can be anything, but again, like I'm such a follower that I need someone to give me license to believe these things.
Yeah.
Like I can just like pull shit out of my ass and be like, this is my faith now.
Yeah, I mean, I started running marathons. Like I run the New York Marathon now. I've done it 2 years in a row, and it's a total religion cult. I'm part of that
Really?
cult. Yeah, totally.
What you mean?
Well, it's like you have to practice, you have to do it all the time. You have to run all the time,
Yeah.
and it is like deeply meaningful for a lot of people. Like they're always like, "What is your why? Like,
Yeah.
why are you doing this?" And for me, it's sort of like, well, something to do because the last couple years have been like a little dry for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even know what my why is. But people are very cultish about running the marathon,
Yeah.
and I think for good reason because you're pushing yourself to a physical extreme, right? It's the kind of thing that like a regular person, quote unquote, can do. It just takes a lot of effort,
Mm.
and it takes pushing yourself to like an extraordinary degree of physical activity.
What's it like after? Because I always notice New York Marathon Day is a huge day in New York. Like it's one of my favorite days in New York because it's cool. Like I go down there and I cry.
Yeah.
And I weep at the majesty of humanity, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then like you guys run it, and then you're on the subway.
Okay,
where
so
it's like a silver thing.
let me take you through that because precisely the same reason I started running the marathon because I had the experience that you had, where every year we would go down to Lafayette and we'd see 50,000 people run past you. And you know that every single individual there had worked so hard, had sacrificed whatever, like maybe, done what you need to do to get to that day. It's beautiful, right? Just the oceanic feeling of humanity washes over you.
It's amazing.
And you see this ocean of humanity come towards you, and you realize that every single person is special. Every single person has a story, whatever. There's like a word for that. But then you run the marathon, and I got the opposite feeling. Everyone was in my way. People were throwing shit everywhere. I was slipping on shit. Like the spectators start coming in, they start crossing the street. Like you're at mile 21, and people are like fucking crossing the road on Fifth Avenue. And if you touched me at that moment, I would have fallen over in a heap. And so I got the opposite feeling from running the actual marathon, which was just like, people are the worst. Get out of here.
Interesting.
And so a producer of ours that you know him well too, Sean, he also ran the marathon like years ago. And one thing that people do is you'll put your name on your jersey or whatever so that people can cheer for you. And so I was asking him before I ran my first marathon, I was like, Sean, should I put my name on my thing? Like, is that cool? Because I wanted people to, secretly I wanted people to recognize me.
Yeah.
I tried to get
the guy from Vice.
The guy from Vice. I think it happened, but backing up a little bit also, like I I tried to get our PR, like the PR people advice to get me on the like notable runners list. And they said no.
You're a total whore.
They're like, no, you can cover it if you want, but I think we're full. That was, yeah, that
So sad.
it was sad. I mean, again, my waning relevance was
Yeah.
put on display there. But so Sean was like, listen, it's really cool for like the first, 2 hours or so, people cheering you on. But when you're like at the edge of your capabilities and there are people just screaming your name, like, come on, Krishna, you're just like, shut up. I want to be left alone right now.
Oh,
There's so many voices in my head. It's so overwhelming. Like, does it actually help?
yeah.
And so what I did was I had it on a piece of tape that I could rip off.
Okay.
But I didn't end up ripping it off.
We shout for the Norwegians, obviously.
Oh, sure.
That's
Yeah.
that's a big thing. We also hand out bananas. Like we're right on the midway point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always wondering,
Going
like,
green point.
am
Yeah.
I helping or hurting here? Like, do you
No,
want
you're
a
still
banana
happy.
flung in your face?
At that point of the race, you're so happy. It's really just like when you get into Manhattan, around the Bronx, and back into Manhattan, then you're just miserable. So yeah, at that point it's a party still, and it's a party for everyone at that point.
I like the stragglers. I love the stragglers.
Yeah, that's something
That's emotion.
Right. I was talking to a documentary filmmaker friend of mine who's also kind of obsessed with the like last finishers.
Yeah.
And it's dark out. And so it's become kind of a cultural thing where people really validate and celebrate those like final finishers.
Maybe we join some stragglers.
Yeah. That would sort of be like the opposite of what I use marathon for, which is like, can I go faster?
Yeah.
Can I go?
I'll be a straggler.
Can I go slower? Would be the answer.
Man.
So yes, okay, that's a cult that I'm part of, which is marathon running.
The cult of marathon running. Yeah, no, I want to join something, and it's getting to be a toss-up if it's like a terrorist organization or if it's a Dungeons and Dragons game. I would join the fuck out of a cult right now.
What's your favorite cult?
I want to join the Hare Krishnas.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could start
there.
Yeah,
I mean, because I enjoy drumming.
Yeah, you do. You already shaved your head.
I already shaved my head. I enjoy singing in a group.
Yeah.
Crisscross applesauce.
You do have to do that.
They do that a lot.
But I don't think you have to.
I don't want to be the one weird Krishna who's like standing up. I'm never fully part of it.
You're like, I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
I'm all the way
they also feel like they're all like kind of hippy dippy and they're probably just like making out and like finger blasting each other at parties at night. And they're just like, you can't join. You didn't sit with us.
You didn't sit with us.
No. And I can't join that.
Maybe you should join the Hare Krishnas. There's like a temple on Skimmerhorn.
Is there?
Yeah.
If I had a favorite cult, what would be my favorite cult? I like the Shinrikyo people, except for all the murder. Like,
I don't know who
say this. They're the people who did the gas attack in the Tokyo.
Oh, sure, yeah,
yeah.
Sarin gas.
Yeah, the sarin gas. I feel like you can say this about a lot of cults. Like, I dig their stuff up until the murder.
Yeah,
which is true for a lot of things. I like a good UFO cult.
Is that a cult? Yes, of course it's a cult.
Oh yeah, the Heaven's Gate.
Yeah. Oh, that's
again up until the
murder,
suicides.
I mean, but so that's when it comes down to like the one meaningful act that you can do is ending your life. Like, that's crazy.
That is crazy to me.
That's
like, I've been to so many extremist groups and cult meetings.
Yeah.
And I will say this about most of them. It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
It's pretty fun. Like,
sure.
They're just like kind of hanging out and you're just like eating food and stuff like that. And no one really has it in them to talk about whatever their religion or worldview is. Like, they're pretty much just like hanging out.
But it's all logistics, right? Every cult is just logistics. Like, who's bringing the lasagna?
Who's bringing the lasagna?
Who's bringing the disposable cult? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Who's got the cutlery? Who's got the lasagna? And who's got the Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
It's organization. It's people organizing themselves into groups to do something. And the something sometimes just sort of takes a back seat to the organizing to actually do it.
I think I'd be good in a maternal cult.
Like, led by a woman?
Where I'm just like, you're a piece of shit for even existing. And I'd be like, great. Now I can just focus on apologizing.
Yeah.
That's
a good one.
I feel very at home in this discourse of like toxic masculinity.
You're like, yes, I am toxic.
Exactly. And like the mediocre white man, like, I love that. Now I'm hitting my stride because now I can just exist as an apology.
Yeah.
That's easy for me. I don't have to assert myself. I can just be like, sorry. That's good. I like that a lot.
So could we find like a cult for you where you can basically be the supplicant?
Yeah.
You're a following supplicant who apologizes a lot.
If there's yard work involved, love to do some yard work.
Well, again, every cult, if you want to like start a cult center, you need to do a lot of yard work.
I don't want a city-based. I don't want a metropolitan cult.
Okay.
I don't respect them for whatever reason.
What's a metropolitan cult?
Like the Hare Krishnas down the street on
Oh.
Silverhorn. Like I need to be like there needs to be woods around.
Well, there are. I mean, there are plenty of Hare Krishna temples in the middle of nowhere. There was one in West Virginia. It was the subject of many controversy. Yeah.
I think I also need it to be a new cult.
So we should start our own.
Like it needs to be a cult that no one's heard about, that at some point will explode all over the news because of the fucked up shit. Like Nexium. Remember Nexium?
Like Nexium.
Which was like no one heard of it, and then oh my god, they're just branding women left, right, and center.
Okay, so what I like about that is it's always fun to be part of something that's up and coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That no one knows about, but then some people know about, then more people know about, and then you're like, I was there when it was starting.
When it was cool.
I mean, Vice was a cult.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I worshipped Vice.
We are kind of whatever the word is for it when you come out of a cult.
Yeah. Speaking of supplicant, like
deconditioning ourselves.
Because I told you I used to like distribute Vice in my hometown in Norway, right?
You didn't.
So this was early aughts, like when Vice magazine was like at its coolest, like mid aughts, I guess. And Vice needed to have distribution in Bergen, Norway. And
needed it.
Well, yeah. And I was running a store then, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are kind of cool. Would you distribute this for us?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Thought you'd never ask. Didn't even enter my mind that I could ever write for them or work for them. That was like even like I was up until 2020. That wasn't even on my radar.
Yeah.
But so every month, for no money, I would get 3-4 huge ass boxes of Vice. I would stick them in like my backpack, and I would like trek around Norway with Bergen with just like stacks of magazine for no money,
and putting it in like skate shops.
Yes.
Places.
And it kind of worked. Like I was the cool guy. Like I had it meant I had the phone number for some Vice guy in Stockholm, Sweden.
That was Ivar.
They're all called Ivar. I don't fucking know, but. Yeah, I loved doing the work. I think, I told Shane Smith, founder of it, I told him this story once. And I don't think he even heard me.
Yeah. He's like, cool, bud.
Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
That was like the first time I met Shane. He's like, okay. You know when you introduce yourself to someone and you get the, okay.
Yeah, well, it's very meaningful for you, but to him, it was just like, I don't really care.
That was at an Emmy party once, and I have this, and I apologize if I'm talking about you here, but that was a great experience. There was an Emmy party in like Midtown.
Why are you talking? Okay, yeah.
Well, so
am I involved in this story?
Maybe. I don't know, because the other person involved, I don't know who they are.
Oh,
I went downstairs to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I'm a stall guy. I love going to
Okay, you don't like a urinal.
No, I don't. So I'm in there, and all of a sudden I hear the door just like kicked open into the main bathroom, and someone's like storming into the stall beside me.
You think this might be me?
Well, I hear the loudest fart I've ever heard in my life. And then someone goes, "Oh, thank God." And then they leave.
They were just holding in a fart.
And it's one of our colleagues. I don't know. And it's the most pure pleasure moment I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. I would have remembered that. I'm also like, I have no shame about farting in public, especially like at a loud party.
That's the thing. Maybe you think it's a stinker.
Yeah.
You just keep moving.
Just keep moving. So we're interested in stuff.
I think that's what I loved about the nerds yesterday, right?
Yeah. The nerds on the waterfront doing
the park. Yeah. Because they're part of something. And I think it's just like, that's what I want.
Right.
They're just like friends for life, because no one else wants to be friends with them because they spend their Tuesdays fighting with swords.
Yeah.
Like it could be whatever. And it's kind of a freeing realization for me to realize that it doesn't matter what I join.
Yeah. And I think there's all these shifting groups that you're part of in your life, and I think when we were working at Vice and making documentaries and traveling around the world, you're part of this little team. You're in the minivan, you're rolling around the country or another country, And so you're part of something, you're part of a group, and you have a mission. Like, you know what your mission is. Sometimes it's written down on a schedule. That's the mission for the day. And you get these little moments where one thing I really always loved was B-roll. Like, when it wasn't really my turn to
Right.
do anything
Yeah.
other than like maybe try to pick out a pretty spot to see the sunset, like shit like that. And those were moments where I was like, wow, I kind of felt that, like, I guess it would be Buddhist in nature. Like, we are just little drops
Yeah.
rejoining something, because you're standing on the top of a Chrysler town and country in, like, let's say Montana, and you're watching the sunset and it's glorious, beautiful colors, and like your cool camera person is like next to you. You know that you're going to go to the Hampton Inn and like have a beer,
Yeah.
and then you're going to get to go to sleep like in a pristine,
Yeah.
like
Pristine Hampton Inn suite.
yeah, exactly, a beautiful bed.
But it's funny, the B-roll moments, and to our non-existent audience,
Mhm.
B-roll is just like the cutaway shots, right? Like you
Yeah.
picture a bee on a flower or
Mhm.
whatever. But I love those too, and I hated the piece to camera when you're talking to the camera. Oh, hey, we're in
Yeah.
Montana, because then it was just me again.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
The pressure's on you.
Yeah.
I always liked, well, no, I never always liked that. I there were times where I liked it. But so to your point, groups of people,
Mm-hmm.
like, that is the universe coming together again,
Yeah.
forming something new and expressing itself.
And I don't care if it's harmful.
You don't care if it's harmful?
Well, I care at a sort of global scale.
Sure.
But to me, if someone asked me to join and they were like, we're also wicked bad people, I'm like, but
Well,
you
but
love
no,
me.
no one says that though, right? Are there any groups that are like, we are fucking bad?
Are we the bad guys?
Are we the baddies?
Yeah. Well, no, probably not. But you must know. I had this experience. I don't know if I ever told you about this experience, which was I was at some sort of shitty neo-Nazi rally
Mhm.
in Georgia, and we were in this field, and I was standing next to this guy, this huge old Nazi, like big dude, covered in swastikas and stuff like that. And like he'd spend the day just like hanging out and drinking with his friends. Earlier that day, I watched him just like absolutely beat the shit out of a guy,
Really?
like jumped on his head. The guy's eye, Krishna, the guy's eye fell out.
Jesus.
It's the grossest thing I've ever seen. But
why did he do that?
I think it was a guy who'd sort of, he wasn't fully a member of the, so this is a group called the Hammerskins,
Mhm.
which is like prison terror, like the bad Nazis. No, they have like the scariest skinheads you can imagine.
Yeah.
So he was like, he wasn't a full member, so he snuck in and like picked a fight with one of the guys, and like you don't do that as not full member.
Yeah.
So like they decided to teach him a lesson.
I get you.
And I learned that this is called throwing someone a boot party, which is when their face is the dance floor
Wow.
and you're just like happily bouncing.
That's a really lovely turn of phrase, actually.
It's pretty good, right? Yeah. And yeah, they have some nice turns of phrases. But at that moment, like he was standing next to me and he was like crying openly
Mhm.
because there was a guy on stage being like, hey, you have the blood of your ancestors coursing through your veins.
Yeah.
The white race needs you.
I see.
And I look up at this guy. You know what his name was? Or his nickname?
What?
Fucking Precious.
Precious
His
or
nickname was
fucking Precious?
No, his nickname was Precious.
Precious. Oh, like
Yeah.
the movie.
Precious. So beautiful. But Precious is just like openly feeling so seen and loved
Yeah.
that he's just like crying. I was like, God, I wish I had that.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. So even if it was like that moment, but is that moment where you're crying and you realize that you're part of something and it's centuries and generations of pure white blood going through your veins, does that correspond directly to also kicking the shit out of someone? Like, are those two things like hand in hand?
I don't know. Maybe you think you're protecting someone, the sanctity of your group,
Sure,
or whatever. But like to your point, like even the most dyed-in-the-wool Nazi must know they're the bad guy.
Yeah, I think that's true. But
You
they
know?
think bad is good in a sense, because it's like you have to be bad to protect X.
Yeah.
You have to be bad. You have to be, you have to be a bad guy. But what you're doing is good.
You're doing dirty work.
You're doing the dirty work, but someone has to
doing
do
the
it.
dirty work.
And like the basic secret about the whole world,
Yeah.
right, is that the dirty work gets done.
Oh, you know what? Okay, listen to me get fucking smart on this one.
Shut up.
The author, the Russian author, Solzhenitsyn,
Mhm.
I'm probably garbling the way you pronounce his name, but he wrote a quote. He said,
He wrote a quote?
Okay, shut the fuck up.
So he wrote something being like, this is going to be a quote one day.
He wrote it down, then he said it out loud, and now it's a quote. he said, and then wrote, and he said and subsequently wrote, or someone wrote it down for him
Yeah.
because they were like, "This is fucking good."
Yeah.
What this guy just said. He said, "In order to do evil, man must believe he's doing good."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good.
It is
It's good,
good.
right?
It's a good quote.
It's a good quote.
He wrote a quote.
He's a
I like
smart
that.
guy. I don't know why they put him in prison for so long. He was such a smart guy.
Yeah, well, a gulag.
A gulag.
A gulag archipelago.
I keep thinking about goulash.
But okay, so joining things seems to be the thing that we want to do.
Yeah. You're very good at getting us back on track.
Well, I mean, I think,
Tying a nice bow.
I just want to tie a little bow on it.
We just want to join things.
We want to join things because we want to do things with people. And ultimately our lives were doing things with people and showing up with cameras so they would let us do them with them.
Which is, when you think about it now, it's not what if we want to join things, we did it the wrong way.
Indeed.
Because we never joined anything. Like, we observed people doing the things we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think what I want to do now is like, take it, like, fuck it. We'll still bring cameras because content is king and all that bullshit.
Indeed.
But I wanted to feel a little bit more honest and real, which is why I don't really want to take you to a Nazi rally. I mean, they'd frown on you, Brahmin or no.
Yeah, I mean, I could construct an identity. I mean, we're all Aryans if you think about it.
See, that's good. But like, I don't want that anymore. Like, I want to join what feels like better things.
Oh, that's actually funny that you bring this up, because I've been sort of thinking. My dad sent me a WhatsApp message about a group of Hindu Americans who are trying to take back the swastika, because the swastika is like an ancient symbol.
Sure.
That that was used in South Asia.
Yeah.
I think used in sort of like pre-Columbian times in the Americas as well. And I'm like, too soon, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to fly.
In 700 years.
Let's just give this one up,
I feel like once the Nazis become a footnote,
right,
then you're good.
Then we're good. But they're still very much present.
They're still a thing.
Yeah. But anyway, they've actually, like, in Canada, and I think maybe, what's the state? Virginia, like in a hate crime law that was going to be passed, or maybe is passed, it hasn't been signed yet. They made a distinction. They called it like the Nazi, what is the crooked cross or whatever?
I guess.
So instead, they said, like, putting a swastika on someone's property is a hate, with the intent of threatening them, is a hate crime. But not if it's the Hindu swastika.
But anytime you need to explain it, like, okay, so let's say I go to someone's house and I graffiti like a good swastika.
Yep.
Like
this isn't for intimidation. This is for peace. It's
that means I have to stay there when they wake up.
Yes, that's right.
Explain, guys. I did a thing. Whoa. Take a breath. Let me explain. Then I don't know. I feel like the efficacy has gone out of it a little bit. And then I'm like in jail or in court. Like, whoa, no, I did not.
Yeah.
Mean to do that. I feel like this is a bit of a lost cause. Like, I'm into it.
Well, I think it's also sort of weirdly right wing in its own manner too, which is it's like trying to. I think there's elements of it that are like ethno-nationalist.
Yeah.
Trying to take back the swastika.
I think swastikas, like the people who should take back the swastika are like 12-year-old asshole kids who would, like, draw it on a bus stop or something. It's like, we're not actual Nazis. We're just like fucking dipshits.
Yeah.
I think they're the ones who should feel aggrieved by the mainstreaming of
hate symbols,
because, like, they took their asshole thing away from
them. That's right.
And now they can't do it anymore.
Low stakes assholery.
Low stakes, because it became so serious. That's what, because that was like my view of neo-Nazism when I started covering it, because I had no experience with actual Nazis.
Right.
So to me, it was like, who are these fucking idiots? Like, what?
So that's interesting. Who are these fucking idiots was kind of the instigating impetus to so much of what I've covered over my years.
Yeah.
And what seems to have happened, and correct me if I'm wrong, is these fucking idiots are in charge of shit now. But they fucking won.
They did. And I wonder if it's because we took them so seriously for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm not arguing that you shouldn't take Nazis seriously.
Right.
But when everything is like, oh, they're a threat to democracy, then, like, a lot of people were like, well, it sounds kind of cool, or these liberals are being mighty hysterical here, or whatever. I think if we all, as a nation, stuck with our
these
fucking
fucking guys.
idiots, you know, this fucking clown, him.
Yeah.
And it's like Tim Waltz kind of touched on it when he was like, "These guys are just weird."
Yeah.
But we should just like loudly, in a clear voice, all stand up and go, be like, "These fucking idiots."
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. It kind of reminds me. I covered this company, like a surveillance company, for a while, and I did a piece for Showtime or something. And part of our realization in talking to like back channeling with people was like they actually loved it when the media covered them as like the big bad Big Brother company, because they could use like their potential clients would be like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
look at this. They must have really good software." It was like we were doing their advertising, even though we were trying to portray them as potentially harmful.
I feel like we did a lot of that at not just Vice, but like we do sometimes carry water for some dipshits just by making them look cool. Like I remember the first Andrew Tate documentary that Vice did, and
Hmm.
like I don't mean to rag on Vice or the guys who did it, but like they called it the dangerous rise of Andrew Tate. And if you tell like a 13-year-old boy
Yeah.
that his hero is like dangerous and
Kind of a kind of good thing.
fucking awesome.
Yeah. So why then do we want to go see these people who fight?
You know what? I just had a realization.
What?
And I think it's the fact that I'm born and raised in the 90s,
Okay.
where everything is covered in just an endless layer of irony.
Hmm.
And you're never like, I was raised never to be earnest
Yeah.
about anything.
Which is funny because you strike me as a very earnest person.
Well, I think I'm making
myself too.
I'm making a conscious effort.
Hmm.
And what I love about these people in the park, the fighters, or even like growing up, the nerds who played role playing, like I did that too, but I was always kind of like ashamed about it, and like I wouldn't talk openly about it. But I like that nothing about what they do is coded in irony.
Hmm.
It's real and it's true, and I think that's what I want more than anything. Like that's why I want to go see this group.
Yeah.
That's why I want to have this podcast with you. I want to have these experiences where I'm not ironic, you know, where I can be like, I'm very happy that I'm here.
Yeah.
And I love this.
Well, because in a sense, even the like, look at these fucking assholes impetus to do the kind of reporting that we did in our past had an ironic sheen to it. There was a remove. Yes.
Vice was like a product of the 90s,
Yeah,
right? You know, all the dipshit founders except Sarush, who we like, but like the founders were steeped in 90s irony.
Yeah,
like,
indeed.
That's what they came out of.
Yeah. And so it was sort of a shell that protected us as we went into these places. And we knew in our hearts, whether this is true or not, let us know, but we knew in our hearts that we were fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Incredibly self-consciously so.
We were so cool. And part of being cool was going to these fucking weirdos' place.
Yeah.
And so now we're like, maybe we're not cool. And we just want to have a good time with people.
Like maybe it's okay not to be cool.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's okay to just want to embrace something with both arms.
And that's, you know, we're talking about striation and caste and these sorts of ways.
Striation mean again?
Like, you know, how you can put yourself above other people, or you can, if you go into a room and if you're looking around and saying, can I beat everyone up here?
Yeah.
Like you're always self-checking, where do I fit in the hierarchy?
Yeah.
We should make like a pledge to each other that when we go into these places, we're at the bottom.
Yes.
We're not there because we're super fucking cool and I have a gold Vice ring and I'm working for this awesome company and I'm on fucking TV. We're there because we're starting at the bottom.
We're there because we're Wonderboys.
Yeah.
And we're real pieces of shit.
Exactly.
But in a nice way.
And we can really, you know, our unthreatening personalities can shine.
Just soft men. You know what I want to think about? Like, this is how I think about it. I spent my life hugging my guy friends in that, you know, the hug when the arm is in the middle, the one.
So your dicks don't touch.
So the dicks don't touch.
Yep.
That was my approach to life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give the full wraparound hug to life.
Dick to dick.
I want to touch life's dick with my dick.
All right, well, let's go touch some dicks. Did this community have a name? The ones that are on the
Y
medieval
I
fighters?
forgot. I was so excited. I immediately forgot.
Interesting.
I forgot the names of the people and the name of their thing.
So this is okay. This also keys into something that we've been thinking about. We've talked about this a lot, and I want to talk about it here, which is like that sense of wonder that we've been talking about. I used to think that you had to go to the Himalayas or had to be on top of a car in Montana seeing the
Mm,
sunset. Like I think part of our journey here is to just open our front door and try to find it.
they're in McCarran Park.
They're in McCarran Park.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And I think there's like a real magic to the world that you have to really tune back into. Because especially for me, it's pretty easy to start seeing the world as a fight between people, like nasty, brutish, and
Mm.
short. Anytime, you know, if I get something from you, I win and you lose.
Yeah.
I'm sort of calcifying into thinking that is actually the way the world works. And it's depressing as shit.
Yeah.
And maybe it's true, I don't know, but I don't think that's how I approached the world before, and I don't want to approach the world. I want to approach the world like I did before, which is like every time two people get together, whenever it's exchanged, every time there's a group of people that getting together, there is an additive element.
Yeah. There's some beauty to that, right? Like you don't need, yeah, just getting together and like doing a thing you enjoy for just that reason.
So okay, so here's another question. How if I saw this on paper, and I made like and this project, I might think to myself, boy, that sounds corny.
It's okay.
Is that okay?
I mean, corny's okay. Again, it's not natural to me to be. I mean, I guess it is natural to me to be corny, but even then, it has like an ironic, like it's a conscious choice.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's okay to want to like cleanse yourself and just be corny or cringe or whatever, because I feel like that's just like pejorative terms for something nice.
Yeah,
It can be, at least.
opening yourself up in a way that makes you feel vulnerable.
Yeah,
I do feel very vulnerable.
I do too. This is terrifying.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
And part of my, I think, natural reaction to feeling vulnerable is putting shells around myself.
Yeah.
So that I don't feel it.
Yeah.
And part of, I think, there's so many ways that you can do that.
I feel it's like almost like hacky too, because at this point, vulnerability and corniness are our business model, which is like, we can't do anything just for the goodness of it.
No.
We have to monetize it.
I think we have a mission. I think we have an idea of why we want to do this. I think we're articulating it to each other, and whoever actually watches this can get a sense of it too. We're good at talking to people. We're good at being in groups of people, and we want to do that to recharge ourselves.
Yeah.
And to understand the world in a little better way. And maybe like inspire ourselves to do something again.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for someone to ask us and then pay us to do something.
Yeah, we did it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
People should follow us on Substack.
Yes.
They should follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
They should follow us on YouTube. They should follow us on Spotify. They should follow us on Pornhub.
I want to put this on Pornhub. Yeah, just follow us.